Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. I am Kimberly D'Souza in your company. Thanks so much for staying with us. It is the 30th day of the year, which means that we have one more day until, you know what, we're going to hear fireworks. But how can those fireworks affect our pets and animals? Is it that we need to stop fireworks altogether, or is there another solution to protect our animals, and not just domestic animals, but also our livestock as well, from those pesky noise that we hear every single first of the year? Well, to tell us more about it is going to be Dr. Paul Crooks, who is the owner of Tobago Animal Hospital and also the president of the TNT Veterinary Services. Dr. Crooks, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning? Thank you so much for joining us on the Now Morning Show.
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Now, Dr. Crooks, we're going to jump right in. On the first of every year, even if we're celebrating a big holiday, we always have fireworks. And of course, the conversation and the topic comes up about what harm the fireworks can have on these animals. Can you just give us a little bit more about that? How exactly does the fireworks harm or affect some of the animals? And of course, we're not just talking the domestic pets, but we're also talking livestock as well.
Well, most importantly is that animals also experience anxiety. So like people may be anxious and there may be triggers as far as mental disease goes, and the triggers could include a variety of different stimuli. For dogs and cats in particular, loud, sudden noises, such as thunder and the explosions that come with fireworks, scratch bombs, and the like, even bursting bamboo, many animals are very anxious. And as a result, animals can harm themselves in an attempt to escape the noise, or they can get lost. And frequently we hear about animals which are lost at the start of the new year. We normally see and share a variety of posters, images of lost dogs. And among the treatments and preventions that we'll talk about today, definitely all dogs, particularly those with the known anxiety to loud noises, should have a form of identification on their bodies that would give a phone number or contact information for the owner. So that's an extremely important part. As far as livestock, they as well exhibit anxiety. However, many livestock are herd or pack animals. They like to live in groups and they get comfort from one another. So even though you may have an individual who is anxious, among the group, they tend to feel fairly safe as long as they're kept in a group and they're isolated in a pen or a comfortable housing area.
Well, that actually leads me to my next question. So then how then do you protect your animals? Is it that you just keep them inside? Is it that you hold them? How do you protect them when fireworks start?
All right. So for the animals that are anxious, and many owners know which animals are anxious, they know that of their 5 dogs, maybe 2 of them react very badly. For those who are anxious, usually having a place that they can hide is beneficial. So having a place in the house or in the environment where the dog feels relatively safe is extremely important. Additionally, that comfort that you describe of holding an animal really does help. I have one dog that actually I acquired because he got lost after fireworks in 2019. I have that one dog who right now, at the time of fireworks, I hold him on my lap and I squeeze him tightly. And that's enough. You can feel these animals shaking in fear. And when you squeeze them tightly, that shaking stops. Yes, they're still scared, but that's one way that we can help. Additionally, and this is on consultation with your vet, you may consider using sedative tablets or mild sedative tablets that would cause the animal to react less aggressively and less fearfully, or make the animal sleep through the firework period. Normally, we recommend that that's given about 2 hours before the onset of the fireworks, so about 10 p.m. or so on December 31st.
Now, Dr. Crooks, is the solution then to continuously sedate the animals while we have fireworks, or then is it going to be something where we don't have fireworks or we have fireworks at a specific time? What do you think the solution to this is?
Well, the thing is, it's all about balance, and we know that there are persons, there's a business community that thrives around the sale of fireworks, and we know that there are many people who enjoy fireworks. However, what we have is a lot of indiscriminate use of fireworks, including use of scratch bombs and that sort of thing. We've seen injuries in dogs where a scratch bomb has been thrown into people's yards and dogs have bitten them and have had the scratch bomb explode in their mouths or near their faces. We've had animals and people who have had physical trauma to their hands, to their faces, to their bodies. We've had people who've had loss of hearing. We've had animals that have had loss of hearing as a result. So for sure, we want to start with safe use of fireworks, which includes, I would say, use of fireworks in designated areas only. That would be the first thing. The second thing is perhaps we could consider regulating the times at which fireworks are used so that owners know that fireworks can be expected between this hour and that hour, and then these owners can react accordingly and prepare. So while sedation is definitely not the best case scenario, and there are methods to train dogs to become more accepting of these loud, sudden noises, and you'd have to discuss that with the trainer. And there are, of course, videos and tutorials online on how to help an anxious dog and reduce that anxiety. But with all of that said, sedatives are sometimes still used, and that is not best case scenario. Ideally, we would want that we can know when this is going to happen so that we can be prepared, so that animals don't run out of their yards, they don't dig under their fences, jump over fences, cut themselves, run into the road, bite the fireworks or firecrackers and harm themselves. All of these things we need to be able to rope in and control. So despite the fact that I personally would say, please no fireworks at all, I understand that there is definitely a group and a community that finds this to be a suitable and entertaining, fulfilling, enriching part of their lives. And that's why I would say right now we would want that balance so that we know there are safe areas and unsafe areas, and we know that there are safe times and unsafe times so that preparations can be made.
Now, Dr. Crooks, I know you said that sometimes when the animal is traumatized, you can hold them, but I'm just thinking how it's going to work in a scenario if we have livestock or even wildlife. How do we treat with, traumatized wildlife animals?
Right. So typically, people who house wildlife should provide an environment for wildlife that mimics the real, so-called real setting. So if you have agoutis need places to hide as part of their housing. So for normal wildlife housing, it is recommended that you mimic the natural setting. And therefore, many wild animals in their home settings should have a place that they could hide. And if that is not available, that should be provided. So yes, for sure, there is anxiety in wildlife and in farmed animals as well, but it is by far less common. And normally, because these animals are kept in very safe enclosures, very solidly built enclosures, escape is very unlikely, as well as physical harm to the animals themselves from trying to escape. Those are very uncommon to see. They can happen, but having places to hide for wildlife is very important, as well as keeping farm animals, sheep, goats, and cattle, keeping them with other sheep, goats, and cattle. That helps keep them comforted as well.
And Dr. Crooks, finally, anything you want to add before we close? Any words of advice for people who may own domestic animals, livestock, or even wildlife?
Well, what I want to throw a plug in here and mention is because I didn't come on before Christmas, but right now there's still a lot of leftovers in the fridge. I want to tell everyone that there are foods that are potentially toxic, and this time of year, a lot of animals receive leftovers. In particular, I just want to highlight grapes as a potential toxic compound for both cats and dogs, as well as chocolate. So please be very cautious, seek advice from your vet. Don't give any treats that are not recommended for dogs unless you've had that advice and you've had that discussion as to how to give them safely. Foods can be dangerous. Anything is poisonous in the right quantities, but in particular for dogs and cats, grapes and chocolate at this time of year, there are major issues and major sources of poisoning.
Dr. Crooks, thank you so much for coming on the Now Morning Show and just sharing that bit of advice. I hope people who are listening actually heed your advice so at least we can have some less traumatized pets moving into 2022. And of course, all the best, Doctor, in the new year.
Thank you very much. Take care. All the best to you guys.
Thank you so much. And that was Dr. Crooks, who just gave us some tips about how to keep our animals safe as we move into the new year from fireworks. But we have to take a quick break and we will be right back. Stay with us on the Now Morning Show.